Hello and welcome. This is another edition of the Daily Dharma. My name's Dina. Thank you for joining. Today, purifying our space, I've pulled out some Yerba Santa herb to smudge our area here. And this is a very sacred herb, like many, bringing in a bit more of the earth element. And its name means something like holy herb itself, too. So I looked up a few things about it just to help us to clue into why that one stepped forward. A few things. It's definitely one of the herbs that's helpful in connecting with spirit guides, guardians, and connecting with the animal kingdom as well as with your guides and any spiritual essences. So it's also really useful for mediumship, any type of divination, prophecy work that you're working on, um, as well as helpful for healing and connecting us with mind, body, spirit, and feminine influences said to be helped here, connecting with one's love and joy, the feelings of happiness. And also, some people use this to aid with any cold, flu, asthma symptoms as well. So there were other tidbits in there talking about how it can be helpful with the respiratory system. And then it talked about being used as a tea, but then it talked about not ingesting quantities of it and how it could be potentially dangerous. So, unless you're skilled at using your herbs, I would not ingest anything just because the internet tells you so. Today, I have laid out a few cards for us from the shamanic deck, and in the pre-shuffle for the sacred geometry activations deck, the code cards, I've laid out just one that popped out on the pre-shuffle, flipped the deck. So let's get to it. The first card popping out is 19, fire. So I should also mention before really getting into it, the preceding messages, what's been marinating from last night into today up into the recording, there's this idea the last few days coming through with really feeling sensations deeply in the body and how one thing can also be mistaken for another, such as love and attraction with fear and anxiety, those butterflies in the stomach. The lump in the throat could be grief. It can be not speaking one's truth or not feeling understood, not feeling the creative platform for self expression to the fullest extent. Anyways, those body sensations. Then yesterday we were talking about so many of the birds, and I believe that the message in a nutshell is talking about how the various birds, in witnessing the animal kingdom and the birds, usually we can, I just saw 333, usually we can perceive of the birds from a neutral standpoint, usually with some type of reverence for nature, unless they're, woodpeckers pecking at your wooden siding or something like that, where the bird becomes a nuisance or somehow something like that would be considered less than good. So I was seeing how the birds were kind of a symbol for us to connect with the elementals and the earth itself through the animal kingdom, and then thereby using the easier level of compassion that we would have for nature and natural things, then taking that into our world and seeing how the various people are also like the birds. We've got the wise owl, we've got the delicate, subtle hummingbird, we've got the really sometimes destructive but very resourceful woodpeckers. I've been seeing the, however you say it, pileated woodpecker, and we've got one here in the marshy area. and it's unmistakable. It really goes to town. And I looked that one up this morning as well, talking about it being known as a guardian of the forest and of the earth, protective, resourceful, and protective. Did I say that? All of these things. Any of the animals that come to your attention, definitely give that a little bit of time in meditation, as well as if you feel compelled, you may want to look that up on the internet and just see what other individuals are seeing and how that applies to you, and then maybe meditating on those ideas, bringing them back together. What is the essence of the general messages coming at you through signs, synchronicities, number codes, what other people say or don't say, mannerisms, and how this feels inside your body? Does it feel threatening? Does it feel like something, some lower nature? Or are you in such an elevated place that you're able to maintain your level of peace and unity and conscious interaction while all of these moving pieces are moving around you? Are you able to find your adventurous nature being quenched on your simplistic daily here and there ventures? So adventures, ventures. There's not much difference as long as we can give our attention in interesting ways. We create the interest in our head. This is something coming forward that I had spoken to with my daughter a few years ago, I do believe, talking about how as the adolescent into teenage years flow, how often our kids, I'm bored, do something for me, entertain me, something. So, yeah, that could go multiple directions, but the way that I approach that in the moment is that, from higher and lower, I was saying, I'm so often so creatively inspired that I don't have enough hours in the day or days in the year and time on this plane to experience everything that I'm curious about or interested in or really compelled by. I mean, there's so much to be researched and looked at and experimented with, whether it's the person, the earthly expression in that way on the material, or with getting into the dynamics of interpersonal relationships and what makes us tick and what makes us feel the sensations of healing versus the sensations of the lower self. And I think that the reason that this segue is here is these emotional sensations and the sensations of whether we're being bored or not. The moral to my daughter I was trying to convey is that while I'm super inspired, it's not because I'm living in a different literal physical space. I'm living in a much different liminal space. And so even though we all have those low times, we all have exhaustion, we all have apathy and boredom here and there, I would say by and large, it's how we engage with our universe slash multiverse. And are we really, if you're feeling that boredom, is it time for you to really tend your inner fires? Because the fire to me really comes up with that spiritual flame, the inner flame, that kundalini energy, that's that serpent energy lying coiled at the base of the spine, so to speak, and then calling that upward through the chakras out into this abundant universe multiverse, and then also drawing back in sustenance and nurturing vibrational essence, replenishing our stores just by the magic of the mystery of what we will never necessarily have time and space to bring in here and now. And so connection is important. connecting to self and to our creative spark. Again, spark. It's that fire that is being called up when we have an idea or an impulse. Are we giving it time and space to I want to say, educate us about what we are being called or compelled forth, whether you judge this as positive or negative. Of course, compulsion can have quite the negative connotation. So take that in stride, and let's just keep moving on with the general messages. Feel free to get more specific in your own resonance here. So fire being called out, it's like there's something that's been said the last few broadcasts about bubbling up within, some kind of inner fire, whether we're being aggravated and frustrated or challenged into activating our fire, whether we're being attracted and intimately connecting 1111 I saw to initiating our fire, or spiritually inspired. All of these are activations of our inner fire. And so perhaps candle gazing or staring at some type of bonfire might be important. I was going to light a candle and I grabbed my herbs and forgot to grab the candle. So staring into the flame can be quite meditative. It can, I believe I read somewhere that it can bring in different wavelength, different brain wavelengths. Is it the alpha wave state? Anyways, it can assist in your meditation practice, and this is by resonance. So the fire is going to help us to share frequency with the element of fire, therefore kind of nesting frequencies within each other's pocket, like synapses in the brain, connecting beyond the self. So 19 also is the number of the sun in the regular tarot deck, which on the pre-shuffle, so many things came out, but the sun in this deck did come out in the pre-shuffle, but it's not on the board here. Another one that came out a few times, the council. Many things were stepping forward with this one. So the council came up with another one with white hair, and I forget the name of it. It'll come forward if it needs to be. With this one, I'm seeing that as also that meditative stance of, and also, I don't know if you're working on some body healing yourself, like tapping or hands-on healing, or just placing the hands on the heart, on this chakra area in general, and connecting with your compassion and your passionate fires, and affirming yourself that you are aware of your breath, you're aware of your heartbeat, you're syncing up your rhythms and biorhythms with the divine Gaia, that the elemental earthly essences. And there's something here about the council member here. It's like the council of elders that I have in my envisioning and in my dream space, have connected with something that was symbolically shown to me as a council of elders. And it's as though they're really encouraging us to go deeper into our meditative space, to create a more time and more space to go deeper beyond even the sensations of the body, and into the vibrational frequencies behind the sensations, and thereby really connecting with the positive and the negative supposed within the self, creating this chakra healing that then, in a way, we become that rainbow bridge. Our psyche consciousness is the rainbow bridge between spirit and matter, and being able to co-create from that space. So vibrational co-creation with spirit is the precursor to seeing it on the mundane material level. So the next two, we had two 41s from this mixed deck. First, Moon Maiden, New Beginnings. We had Beginner's Mind yesterday. So something is definitely coming through. And then the other 41 is Rainbow, with that parrot phoenix type essence here. And I'm seeing we've got this fire, and then we've got the council for me representing that through the face of the sun that keeps coming out recently in the readings. That 11 card to me with the council is talking about us being able to interpret those golden light code activations and how they can ping our inner fire to call the spark upward through the chakra systems. And that's this rainbow essence. Usually, whenever I'm talking about the rainbow, it's about having the chakras illuminated, having cleared away any energetic clutter and debris, and meditation and cleansing and purifying your body in any way that feels good to you can help to release any stagnant, stuck energy within any of the chakra centers within your emotional auric field and all of the subtle bodies that we are comprised of on the non physical space. These have true bearing on our situation. So I'm not necessarily getting a lot out of the number 41, but maybe that's your age, or maybe that's something significant to you. But with this fire, then the sun in the council card, it's like having that triggering situation, for better or for worse, whether it's frustration, sexuality, or inspiration here, something being triggered, then the council perhaps coming into that vision space, into the dream space. And then within this space, under the light of the moon, see the stars and the moon, she's immersed, but she's right there poised, ready and willing and able to come above the surface here. And it almost seems as though she's looking below her at like an out of body experience when people dream at night and having the sensation of lifting out of their physical body. I sometimes equate that with, at the basic level, there's this feeling of, if we can get into that meditative space, often I have these really random images, faces, people's images, nobody that I know, but people and things and beings stepping forward. And I may or may not assign meaning. And then there's this feeling of non-sensation, like the I'm not sure how to describe it, but it's a feeling of not really being inside one's body. It seems to me that when we are not locked into this singularity of physicality, that the energies that are really stuck and constricted within the body begin to release and expand, and that our energy bodies are expanding. And I'm sensing that there's something to do with the dream space in general. So I know I've been dreaming of water a bit lately. I don't know if you've been as well. And it seems like all these random dreams don't necessarily have meaning, but if we log them, journal them, and start to put things together, in some time, once some time has passed and this experience has been pondered over, it's going to start to make sense that water element can sometimes be consciousness, the psychic realms, or emotional spaces. And the nature of the situation and the nature of the feeling in the body in the dream um, can lend some additional meaning. So then with this rainbow card, it's like that the sun rising again. It's like this new beginnings card is the overnight experience that takes this initiative of the initiation, perhaps, of the fire being called forward throughout the night. And whether or not we're conscious of it, the next day, we're really lit up. We've got some momentum. We've got new ideas. And if you're inspired, maybe it's like, well, I'm going to do this new thing for myself today, or I'm going to make a little bit of time and I'm going to write something out that was very inspiring, or I'm going to take time to write my book, or to draw, or to do something creative, to move and bend and dance and sing, getting to work on a hobby. So weeks ago, almost a month or more, we were really at that breakthrough point where we were being able to focus on some long-standing goal. And then all of a sudden we started talking during the Mercury retrograde phase more so about some things being kind of caught up and having the need to work these sensations through the body. And it seemed to be related to the way we interact with other individuals, and self judgment being projected outward, or vice versa, other people's judgments being internalized, something along those lines. So, with this new beginning, it's almost like through this practice and process, we're being engaged in this healing process overnight. And then there's this new beginning that is there from the first breath in the morning, came through yesterday with this new level of healing. So under the deck, we initially had Rainmaker, which was interesting because I saw that as soon as I saw Fire, which is this newfound Aquarian energy at 2222, bringing the water, bringing the hydration back to the parched earth. And the body is the parched earth. So whether you need to immerse in bath, shower, pool, or in the emotional, psychic waters, reconnecting with that energy helps us to help the soil of life to actually yield a harvest. You can't grow seeds without water. So bringing in the water, being the rainmaker, it's like doing that sacred rain dance, so to speak. That's the 42 card. It's like this is us being able to have the wherewithal and the commitment to go and do something for self or for these goals. In this rainbow card, this whole new day, bringing water to our goals and watering our seeds. So under that, a few things wanted to show. I'm just going to go through quickly if I can. We've got the upper world speaking through us and to us here, inspiring us to step up and forward and to break through that new threshold, that barrier. And here we have that depicted with that dragonfly, the beauty way. It's like believing more so in the self, in the dreams, in the process, and having looked below the self from that point of being released from the body through compassion. It's like we can overlook the landscape of our lifetime or lifetimes, depending on how deeply you're able to reach, and to really integrate ourselves in this whole new transformative way, where we saw that light body coming through from within the body, being released, shedding one's skin to come through in this whole new way. And that's what I feel this rainbow activation is really. It's releasing, the chakra activation is releasing the earthly heaviness And then we have the benefactor, grace and generosity. From this point of healing, we become the beacon and the healer, but we also call our blessings in to our world. And so somebody may be coming in to support you at this time, but for most of us, please do be aware that the council is here for you to be called in and summoned, to be conjured at your whim. I would use that with caution and respect. So under that, we had this other bundle showing itself, the falling angel, spiritual narcolepsy, showed up as part of this, having been submerged in these waters through some type of experience. It's like we've already understood how to call forth our energy and heal, but then life being life has called us back from time to time. And so we're being taught and reminded to lift ourselves up back into self activation, self adventuring, and to witness ourselves being supported, because as we fall, I'm seeing us being immersed in this water, the deep wells of emotional well-being. And it can sometimes require us to have an emotional release, but it's like when you fall from a great height, water can be like a brick wall. I get that, but the image I'm getting is that better to fall into a great pool of water than onto a rocky, pokey landscape, right? So when we fall, not becoming that prickly landscape, but allowing ourselves to get deeply into the what is behind the fire. What is that water that can supplement our fire and not put out our fires, but create a beautiful sauna, steaming. So that's the 19 card, which seemed relevant because of the fire card. And then we have the blade, 6, talking to me about being able to cleanse and clear and to perhaps even cut cords, energetic cords that are binding us to situations, ways of being, or to other individuals that are no longer serving our highest. Being willing and able um, to make those difficult transitions here. And I always see this as the eye of a dragon or a reptile of some sort. And with this being year of the dragon, this is our year for empowering our process in letting go of those earthly, heavy situations can really help us to invite in these subtleties of the guides, guardians, animal totems, and the council. They're looking on us from their heart space and asking us to flow with more water in our lives than fire. The fire is great inspiration, but it can burn us out, burning the candle at both ends. The space needs to be created, not at the expense of healing and repair work that can be done when resting and rejuvenating and self-care and sleeping. We need to take good care of ourselves. Then we have dream thief. It's like if we're not in this repaired state, if we're not looking at the emotions with compassion and instead with just aggravation or fear and loathing and resentment, those things can steal the dreams, because not only on the literal space, when we're immersed in those powerful, intense emotions, then our dreams are wrought with that emotional resonance as well. So clearing the playing field with that rainmaker energy can really help us to hear the call, and also making sure to make that space is like the call, refusing the call versus answering the call of our higher destiny. Releasing doesn't always mean cutting people off, but sometimes it must. Under that is the corn. And I think that this is that labyrinth spooky labyrinth of not understanding people around us or the whims and whatnot. So I wanted to go ahead and get these code cards. So making sense of all of this, the card that came out was 36, Prosperity. Running short on time. If this is meaningful to you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, folks. Under the deck, 15, Compassion. So having this compassion is opening us up to perceiving the abundance of the universe, the abundance of time that we can and should dedicate to the calling and to what inspires us. Anything else here? So dynamic. Yeah, so making sense of the dynamics that arise within the self in conjunction with others. And if we're bored, being able to create adventure is sometimes giving your inner child or your inner spark the creative resources and time and space to have that full expression, to playfully express oneself and to engage in time and space that's meaningful for yourself. Root chakra, getting back to basics and creating that firm foundation for success. So taking care of those little things every day helps us to be able to not have an overwhelming 2-hour episode at the dish sink, something like that. Sacral chakra, understanding that you're worth this and that it's something that you are here to do, and so it needs your attention. So yeah, there's more with that one, but we're running out of time. And here we have Tantric Journey yet again. I swear I shuffle the crap out of these, and that's 42 as well. Rainmaker, Moon Maiden, and Rainbow here, 41 to 42. There's this connection in conjunction with the above and the below, the water and the fire, the sacred hieros of higher self and lower selves, and being able to have that happen in the higher realms of compassionate understanding. Let's split this deck. Integration. Who knew? So integrating all of this is helping us to reach that prosperity point, and we've been told for quite a while now that it's right there. We are right at the end of calling in a lot of abundance into our world. So take good care of yourselves. Let's see if we can't get you one of these before we get cut off. Whispers of the Ocean Oracle. Here we go, right here. Surrounded by prosperity. That's exactly what we said. Your attention's being drawn to the infinite nature of reality. That which exists outside the known is beyond measure. In the light of the moon, yes, there's a new beginning. A full moon can shine light on what you've been resisting. This can be anything from your fears to your soul's beauty. Beauty way. Yes, take such good care of yourself. Give yourself time and space to shine and come alive, and journal those dreams, folks. So take care, and like, share, subscribe, please. Take care, guys.